All right, hi, good evening. It's 10:20. I'm going to start with today's class. All right, we are going to finish with the lesson that we started, that is causative verbs. We were working with the two most important examples that are with make and have, and now we have to cover the next ones. And the one that it's very important is get, and after get, the other two are very simple. So as a review, causative verbs are used with this logic. Make is used for obligation, forcing, and requiring something from someone. Have is for requirement, for giving responsibility. Get is for convincing and persuading. Those are the three already important ones. And then you have let, that is allowing or getting or giving permission actually, and help, that is giving aid. All right. Now, with make, we said that make is the, let's say, the strongest, right, of all these verbs, causative verbs, meaning force or require someone to do something. But remember that in the formula and in the structure, we have to use the base verb. That's why we say, once again, let me do this. Okay, that's why we do the following. We have, as in any sentence, right, this subject, then you have the verb that is make, then you have an object, then you have the verb in the base verb, and you have the complement, right, that finishes there. So they make students complete the assignments. That in past would be they made, right, students complete the assignments yesterday. In future, they will make students complete the assignments tomorrow. In present perfect, they have made students complete the assignments twice. And in present continuous, they are making students complete the assignments. In past continuous, they were, okay, they were making students complete the assignments, and so on and so forth. All right, it means that we can use these verbs, these causative verbs, in any tense that we got. All right, present, past, future, as you can also see in the rest of the examples. But again, we already covered this. This is just review. Have also, the main difference is that this is more related to responsibility, right? To working because you're getting paid, or you're paying someone to do something for you so that that person does something for you. For example, right, the same logic is the same structure. We only use have. So we, the verb have, in past had, a painter, that's the person, paint, the verb, our apartment, the complement, right? So in present, we always have a painter paint our apartment. In present continuous, we are having, right now, we are having a painter paint our apartment. Past continuous, we were having a painter paint our apartment when something happened. In that simple past, in future, we will have a painter paint our apartment tomorrow. Or in any tense, in present perfect, we've had a painter paint our apartment before, right? So we can use, once again, any tense. Then we got the verb get. That is the same, but again, it's less strong than the other ones. And it's for convincing or persuading. So no obligation, no paying anything. This is just convincing, persuading. And that's why we can use this verb with friends. Okay, this verb, differently to the previous two verbs, it's used with friends. Why? Because if make is used with bosses or parents, because this is obligation, right? For example, my mom made me I don't know, right? Made me help her with this. So that's obligation, okay? Because mother, son. Then you have that is payment. My boss had me complete the report. Okay, so my boss is paying me to do that for him. And now we have get, that is for friends. or for any person because it's convincing. So for example, if I convince anybody to do something for me, I can use this structure. All right, get. Now, we're going to take the advantage that you're here now, Gladys. Take a look at this new verb, get. We are still in the same lesson, causative verbs. We worked already with have and with make. Okay, we work with examples and everything. Now we have to work with get. So please, Gladys, let's read these slides. The meaning, the structure, and the examples that we have.
The examples, right?
Everything, please. The meaning and the examples, please.
Okay. It said get, meaning. Convince, persuade someone to do something. The structure, subject, get, person, group, verb, infinitive. Lourdes gets her son to help her with the dishes every night. Melissa will get her boyfriend to buy her an expensive ring next year. I have gotten my neighbor to help me carry my suitcase.
Great. Thank you very much, Gladys. So if you pay attention, the difference between make and have and get is the form of the verb. In make and have, you use the base verb, right? We had the painter paint base verb, or they make the students complete base verb. But with get, you have to use infinitive to help, to buy, to go, to drink, and so on and so forth. You see the examples here, Gladys. So let's work with some speaking examples now, please. You see in present, Lourdes gets her son to help her with the dishes every night. So what is an example that you can give me in this case, Gladys? What is something that someone or you, all right, convinced to another person to do something for you? That's the logic, okay? Someone convinces another person to do something for him or for her. And in this case, in present, like a routine. What example can you give me with this logic?
An example can be Jessica has
And in this one, remember, we're going to use this structure. So you have the subject, then you have the causative verb. In this case, we have to use get. Then we have the object, the other person. Then we have the verb in infinitive, and then we have the complement, as we have here. Subject, get, person, verb in infinitive, complement. So Jessica, that's the start. Then you have to do this in present. So you can say Jessica usually gets, always gets, never gets, right? Anything like that. Or you can use what at the end? An adverb to make it clear that it's for present, for a routine in the present. So with that explanation, Gladys, what idea? It can be about anybody else as you're doing, Jessica, or it can be about
yeah.
you.
That's so hard for me because I don't understand like until you told me in Spanish.
All right, let's take a look at those elements. In this case, it's similar to what we did. So let me show you one more time. It's here, it's open. Remember, these are the examples, right? I always have a cook prepare dinner for me. That's the meaning. Give me a second. Then I had a cook prepare dinner for me. This is the meaning. All right. So here, these were your examples, right? We made people help us. So you are producing someone do something for you. You are causing another person do something for you, right? You're making. Have is the same as make but less strong. Get is the same as make and have, but even less strong. Okay, so they are the same. They are exactly the same. It's just that make is for bosses, for parents. Have is when you pay for a service. And get is to convince anybody so that that person does something for you. All right, so with that logic, again, if you try to translate everything, perhaps that's going to be harder and harder every time because English gets to a point to impossible translation. All right, some of the English words are just impossible to translate. So just with that logic, try to tell me who convinces who to do something for that person. Okay, with that logic. Again, you have the translation, but if you can do that without translation, also it is going to be better. So with that extra thing then, Gladys, what could it be? Any example? Tell me who is getting who to do something, anything for that first person. What comes to your mind?
Jessica gets her mom to cook for her.
Yes, that's correct. If you want to say convincing or persuading, right? It's like, Mom, please, yeah, cook something for me. I'm sick. Please do it, right? If that's the case, yes, it is correct. Good. Jessica, you can say Jessica always gets her mother to cook for her. Why? Because she doesn't know how to cook, it can be. All right, but yes, correct. That's one. That's in present. What about future? Who will get who to do something for that person?
Mm,
You can say that you will convince someone, right? But you don't say convince, you say get. But the meaning of get is convince. The meaning of get is persuade, right? Like, come on, let's do it. Say yes, please, right? Or that's begging, right? But convincing could be, come on, it's a good idea. Let's do it, right? That's convincing. If you do that for someone to do something for you, you can use get. So what do you say in future? What idea comes to your mind?
mm. In future, I will get my friend
Good, it's correct so far.
to to do my nails.
Yes, yes, that's great. Perfect. I'll get my friend to do my nails. Right? Good. It will actually, it means, right, that you will have a conversation with your friend and you will tell her or him, right? Help me with this, please, right? If you do it, I'm going to help you with this other thing, right? So that's convincing or persuading in a certain way, right? You can offer something. Anything that you do to persuade people is that you have to take into account, right? So great. One last one, please, Gladys. In present perfect, and remember the present perfect is past, right? Like here, it says, I have gotten my neighbor to help me carry my suitcase. And this is past, but remember, it's indefinite past. We don't know when it happened, but we know that it happened. So what do you say? What could it be in present perfect for past?
um, they have gotten. It should be the same verb.
Correct. It's the same auxiliary as you have. Right? If you have I, we, you, they, you also have have, and you have gotten because it's participle. So yes, it's correct.
They have gotten my brother. They have gotten my brother to to buy me an ice cream.
Okay, yes, exactly. So in that case, again, what are you saying? You're saying that a group of people, they have convinced, they have persuaded your brother by asking for you, right? And again, if there's persuasion, if there's convincing, then it is correct. Okay, so good. Your three examples were great. They were very good, and it can be clear why it is convincing. So again, Gladys, in order not to be overcomplicated with these three verbs, because these are the three important verbs in this lesson, remember that they mean the same, make, have, and get. But make is the strongest for bosses, parents, right? Your mother make you, right, do something because she can work with obligation, right? So make is the best option. Have, if you're paying someone to do something for you, but in this case you say, I always have, I don't know, right? A hairdresser, an architect, an engineer, any profession do something for me, right? Base verb, base verb. And if it's a friend, if it's another person that you don't know, if there is no connection, right, in which you can give orders, then you have to use get because it's your equal, right? And you can say, I always get my friend to help me with my homework, right? I always get my brother to, I don't know, right, to lend me his or her, I don't know, right, any object. So convincing and persuading. Those are the three important ones, Gladys. We can finish here, but we're going to take a look at two extra ones that are very simple. Let. I know that you have used let many times in the past, and here is the same. It's just giving permission, allowing someone do something for you. All right, let's read only the examples, please, Gladys.
She let her boyfriend go to the party. They will let their children play in the park. Sarah never lets anyone tell her what to do.
Great, thank you. Now, if you analyze, this is very simple, right? If you give permission to someone do something for you, then this is the one you have to use. So only two examples, please, Gladys. You tell me which ones. One can be in present or past, and the other one can be in future or present perfect. It's up to you. What two examples can you give me using let as giving permission to someone
Mm,
to do something, right? Giving permission to someone to do something.
I let the baby. No, I let my. Sorry. I let the baby play. I let the baby to play with.
No, in this case would be base verb. If I say give permission to do, there we say to do. But here we don't say permission, we say let. And after let, we have to use the base verb. So I let the baby do or
Play
play or go.
with his siblings.
All right. Yes, I let the baby play with his siblings. That's correct. That's past, right? That would be a past idea. What about another one? Anything that comes to your mind? Now it can be present or future.
I will, or my mom will let my sister going
Go, right? Not going, go.
go to the party.
Exactly. Correct. Good. Now again, it sometimes feels like we have to use right going or to go, but these verbs, remember, they have a specific rules. And yes, your two examples were perfect. So remember, actually, so far, almost all of them are with the base verb, right? So let's go back just to take a look at that. Make is with base verb, right? Go, eat, drink, so on. Have is with base verb. The difference is get. Get is with infinitive, right? To go, to help, to buy, to drink. Let do one more time with the base verb. All right, we finish with this. It is good. And now help is also special, Gladys, because with help we have two options. You can use the base verb or you can use infinitive. But if you want a piece of advice, help is more natural when you use another person with the base verb. Okay, so you can say Oliver helped me to do my homework, correct? Or Oliver helped me do my homework, correct? Both are correct in this case, okay, just in this case. But my recommendation and what's more natural is to say do, only do, not to do. Okay, but again, in this case, both are correct. So let's read only the examples, please, again, guys. 1, 2, and 3.
Oliver helped me do my homework. A cup
Good.
of coffee in the morning helps me to wake up. And my colleague
Colleague.
helped me to write my CV.
Great. Thank you very much, Gladys. There you go. The same logic, right? And this is not different to the other ones, but this is very simple. You help someone do or to do something for you. So again, Gladys, any examples that you want, please give me 2 examples using help. And again, you are helping, you are giving aid to someone, or someone is giving aid to someone else, do something or to do something for them. So what comes to your mind?
I have a question. What is aid?
Aid is a synonym of help. It's the same. You can give aid or you can help someone. It's the same. When you assist someone with something because that person cannot do that alone. All right, so if you need to move right to another place, you need some aid or you need some help. It's the same.
Okay. Okay, so the question was, sorry.
2 examples, please. Any tense, remember one can be present, the other one can be past, one can be future, the other one can be present. I don't know. 2 different tenses. 2 examples using help, please. Someone helping another person do or to do something for them. So what do you say?
My sister helped me to do exercise.
Yes, it is possible. If you needed help in that activity, right, doing exercise, you can say that. Correct. My sister helped me to do exercise. That's one.
Can be
Another one
without two, right?
can be without to. Help can be with base verb.
Both of them work.
Exactly. But we cannot say ing in this case, right? Only base verb or infinitive. Yes, the two of them.
Okay. And then it can works for future, right?
Yes, all of them. All of these can work with present, past, and future. So this one as well, Gladys, correct.
Okay. Mm, my coworker helped me to do more sales.
Yes, that's also correct. Good. Just to practice. How do you say that in the present perfect? Remember, present perfect is past, but you need an auxiliary and the verb in the past participle.
My coworker had helped me.
But instead of had, you need only
Have
has. But it's your colleague has, right? Exactly. So one more time, please, with that correction.
my coworker has helped me to do more sales.
Yes, correct. So again, I'm showing you just with that that you can use this with any tense again. Simple present, simple past, present continuous, past continuous, simple future, future would be going to, present perfect, and so on. For example, you can say, I'm helping my sister to do right her homework. Or I was helping my sister to do my homework when something happened. Or I have helped my sister, right, to do her homework before. Or I helped my sister to do her homework yesterday, and so on and so forth, right? Any tense works in this case, Gladys.
When I
With
use
this,
has and have, oh, sorry.
go ahead.
When I use has and have, it's for present perfect, right?
Correct, exactly.
And had is for past participle.
For past perfect, but we haven't seen the past perfect yet. We're going to see that, I think, in this
Oh,
course. Okay, past perfect. When you say, for example, I
I
had started or I had bought, right? Is the had plus the verb in the past participle.
Is past participle different for past perfect?
Yeah, it's just that the past participle is not a tense. The past participle is the name of a verb. All
Oh,
right. So
okay.
the tense is the, look, the tense
Past
is the
perfect.
present perfect and the tense is the past perfect. But the present perfect and the past perfect both use the verb in what form? In the past participle form of the verb.
Okay.
All right. That's why you can see the past participle in many structures. You see the past participle in passive voice. You see the past participle in the present tenses, present perfect, past perfect. You see the past participle in what else could it be? In future perfect also, and in perfect modals. All right, so you see the form of that verb in many other structures. Okay, so with that, we are done here, Gladys. I want to finish with this lesson because I believe that you got it, and we need to see other lessons as well. If you have more questions or doubts about this topic, please let me know, as I'm going to look for the next one that we have to cover. But again, let me know if there's something that you want to see about these verbs. Remember that your decision is or has to be on the basis of this chart, Gladys. Make for obligation, have for responsibility, get for persuasion, let for permission, and help for aid, right? Help for help. That's the meaning that it has. So according to that meaning, you choose what verb you use to say someone do something for you. Okay, so if this chart is clear, the lesson is also clear. So be thinking, please, impossible questions. Gladys, I'm going to open the next one. All right, so we are with this one then. This is the next lesson that we have for today. Okay, so what do you know about these words, Gladys? What do you know about so, neither, to, and either? And remember, they can change in pronunciation, right? This in some parts of the US can be neither, and this can be either. But in most parts or regions of the US, this is neither and either. So, what do you say? Again, what do you know about these words? Tell me everything that you know about them, please.
I just know that so and I don't know if, no, I don't think they are connectors, but I know the meaning of so to neither, but not either.
All right, good. It's good. It's a good start. But yeah, actually, this can be a connector. So can be a connector. But the rest of them, no. But yes, because they have many meanings, right? So can have at least 3 or 4 different usages. To has at least 2. Neither has 2 or 3, and either has 2 or 3 different usages. But in this lesson, we're going to learn one for each. All right? And it's about agreement. When, for example, I say, right, that I like something and you also like that. So to show agreement, we can use these words. Just by looking at them, Gladys, which words do you think that we use for positive agreement and which words do we use for negative agreement?
To and either.
All right. That for what? For positive or negative agreement?
Oh, positive.
All right. And for negative, so and neither? Or what do you say?
Just neither.
Just neither. All right. And what about so? Because in this case, we have to use the four of them for agreement. So what do you say about so? Positive or negative agreement?
Positive.
All right, we're going to see that. All right, I'm going to tell you, but let's see some other details. I want to know how you can use these words, and we're going to see how we can connect to the knowledge that we need for today. Give me one example with so, please. Not that you have to know for this lesson, but in the way that you use so, Gladys. One example showing me how you use so in English.
When you say I think so,
Yes, that's one.
you
Any
can
other
use for
cases?
both because you can say I don't think so.
Yes, correct. That's one usage, right? And in that case, you are not showing agreement, but you are reducing one idea to the word so, right? For example, if I say, um, mm, I think, right? I think it's a good idea to start today. And you say, I don't think so, right? So is replacing what? Everything that I said, right? All the rest of it. So good. That's one usage. Do you know any other usage for so in any other context or any other structure?
For so,
Yes. In what other
um,
structures do you use so?
so like I wanna go to the party, so I'm gonna buy this dress.
That's perfect. And there you're using so as a connector, right? Because it's
Mhm.
consequence. That's perfect. Good. That's the second usage, very important. So that's enough. What about neither? What comes to your mind with neither? What example can you give me using neither? One example would be enough if you remember some.
Like I don't wanna go neither.
Okay, close. The idea is not bad, but something is missing there. If you want to use neither there, you have to use more information after neither. Or if not, you are confusing neither with either. Because in your example, if you don't say anything after neither, then you have to use either in that case, right? I don't want to go either.
Go neither. Either.
Either, exactly. Either is the opposite of to, right? To is in
Okay.
affirmative and either is in negative. All right. So you say, right, I want to go to, or I don't want to go either. All right. But you cannot say, I don't want to go neither, because that's going to be incorrect. Why? Because you have double negative. Ni is negative and don't is negative. And we don't use double negative. All right. So only neither. And we're going to see that now. With to. In what other ways do you use to? We saw one now, right? I want to go to. And that's agreement. That's what we're going to see today. But do you know any other usages for to? I think we saw one in a few classes before.
Neither.
No, for to. For the word to. One example you can give me, or you can explain why you use it and how you use it.
Um, I wanna go to the party too.
That's one. Good. Do you know any other usages for to?
Mm, no, just that one.
All right, that's perfect. That's the one that we need. But remember, I believe we covered this with you. To can also be an intensifier, exaggeration, right? The test is too hard, right, to finish or to complete it, right, in that amount of time. So it can be exaggeration, too plus adjective, right? Too hard, too difficult, too late, and so on and so forth, right? Too early also. And either one way is the way that you were using neither, right? But we use either for negative agreement. But just in case, do you know any other usage for either? All right, good. The main ones are the ones that we got, Gladys. So let's take a look at this. Not that one, we don't need this. This is the answer to what you were saying. For affirmative ideas, we use so and to. For negative ideas, we use neither and either. But you have to be careful. Again, you're going to see in a few seconds. Don't use neither in negative sentences. They have negative ideas, but they are in affirmative sentences. Okay, but the meaning is negative. So let's take a look at that to understand. So and to is for agreement. You already showed me one way, Gladys. If I say, tell me something that you like, Gladys, anything that you like.
I like pizza.
Okay, you like pizza. So imagine that we're having a conversation and I say, right, hey, I love pizza. Tell me, please, two different ways to show agreement with me. How do you show agreement with me? And try to use these two words, so and to. How would you do it?
Both words in only one sentence?
No, in two different
Any of
sentences.
them. Okay. I like pizza too.
That's one. Good. Now, how can you say that in a short way, like in a yes/no question? You only need one thing to make it short.
Me
How
too.
can you say that? That's good. That's just a little bit informal. You
Mm,
need three elements, just three words to say that. What could it be? And remember a rule that I told you? If you want to say something short, or if you want to answer yes/no questions, always pay attention to the auxiliary. In the sentence, I like pizza, what is the auxiliary? Remember, we saw that in tag questions.
I like pizza.
What is the auxiliary in that sentence?
Like?
Like is the verb. The auxiliary is not written there. The auxiliary is only used in negative and in questions in that tense.
Das?
Good, does, but if the subject is I,
Do.
is do. Exactly. So your short version is the subject plus the auxiliary plus this adverb. So how would it be? I like pizza. How do
I
you
do
answer?
too.
I do too. Good. Me too is valid, Gladys, and it's great for any conversation, for anything, but for international tests if you want, or for formal situations, informal meetings, at work, in your studies, you're not going to say me too, you're going to say I do too, or you can use so. And how do you use so? Is inverted. But first, let's take a look at what I told you. Actually, they are showing that. This is what I told you. I like pizza. Actually, and that's your sentence, right? I like pizza. And the agreement is I do too. You can say me too, correct, but it's not formal. I do too is correct and it's formal.
And
And you can say I like pizza too. It's also correct, but here we're trying to be quick and efficient. But it's also correct. Yes,
uh,
Gladys, you had a question.
if I answer in an exam, I like pizza too, or I like it too,
It's
that would be
perfect.
correct.
Yes, it is correct.
And in the TOEFL, they are wondering that I use this I do too, or can be I like to?
In the TOEFL, if you are going to answer that in a speaking test, and sometimes you have to be careful with the time, Gladys, that's why we are teaching this. It's better that you use a short and formal way to say it. Okay? If you feel that you have the time, say, but sometimes you're not going to have short ideas like this, right? It's not going to be like pizza. The idea is going to be very long, a very long idea, right? I like to go out when I training and when blah 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 blah. So you don't say, yes, I like to do this and that and that and that too, right? So instead of that, you only say, oh yes, I do too. All right. So it's to be formal, to be correct, and to use less time. And in the TOEFL, remember the main idea is to use less time. All right, because everything is with a timer. 45 seconds, 1 minute, I don't know, 30 minutes to write, 50 minutes to write. So you are always with a timer. And if you can express something in a correct way, in a formal way, but using less words, that can be a good idea sometimes. All right, but as I told you also, you can use complete ideas and it's also correct. So it depends on you, Gladys. Both are correct, both are evaluated the same. It's just how you're using that and how much time you have to say your ideas. All right, that would be the answer. So, if this is the logic, let's play with some other elements. What if I say, I, I am in my house? How do you show agreement with that one, Gladys? I am in my house.
I am in my house. I do too.
But remember the rule for tag questions also, if you see the verb to be, use the verb to be. So you have to use the verb to be. So it's going to be, I am
I
to.
am too. Oh, so I just do when I don't see the verb to be.
When it's present, exactly. When it's present and you don't see the verb to be. And in the rest, just in simple tenses, Gladys. Again, I believe I told you the most difficult tenses in English are the simple tenses, right? That's paradoxical. Simple, but they are difficult. Why? Because you don't see everything. In past, for example, how would you do it? If I say, I went to the party, you went to the party too. How do you show agreement? In this short way.
I went to.
But went is not the auxiliary. In the simple tense, what is the auxiliary?
Did.
Did, exactly. That's why, just be careful with those two. In simple present and in simple past, you don't see the auxiliary in affirmative ideas. I like
So
pizza.
the answer
Yeah,
should be I did too.
I did too. Uh-huh. If I say, look, now I'm going to use the verb to be. If you see the verb to be, use the verb to be. I was at that party. What is the agreement for that?
I I I
One more time.
was too.
I was exactly. If you see am is are, use am is are. If you see was were, use was were. But if you say went, took, if you say like, if you see go, that's present. You have to use do or does or did. Okay, but this is the only case, Gladys. Just memorize that. Because why? Look, if I say in future, it's easy. In future, what is auxiliary? Will,
Well,
right? And you see will. For example, if I say, I will travel tomorrow, how do you show agreement with that?
I will. Oh,
It's good.
I will too.
Exactly. Because will is the auxiliary and you see the auxiliary. So no problem with future. If I say, I can go to the party. Okay, I can go to the party. Affirmative. I can go to the party. What is the agreement for that?
I can too.
Exactly, because anytime you use other tenses, The auxiliary is there. You can see it and you can hear it. If I say this, look, this is present perfect. And this is not simple present, it's present perfect. So you also see the auxiliary. It's easy. You say, I have finished my homework. I have finished my homework. What is the agreement for that one?
Sorry, I didn't hear it. I what?
I have finished my homework. And you see the auxiliary there. The auxiliary is there.
I have to.
Correct. So in the only cases that you have to worry, Gladys, the only cases are simple present. I go to the gym. I like pasta. I work here. That's simple present. And in simple past, I went to the party. I took a new course. I finished my ideas. So if you see that, you have to think, okay, here I have to use the auxiliary. Like is not an auxiliary, so I use do or I use does, depending on the subject. I went to the party. Went is not an auxiliary, so I have to use did. So in those two cases, the rest of the cases, Gladys, is always there, so it's what you see. Will, have, has, can, would, should, must, had, if it's the past perfect, right? And any of the other auxiliaries, you use them. And if you see the verb to be, is, am, are, was, were, you also repeat the same. All right, so that's the general, and it applies to anything, Gladys. It applies to this, it applies to tag questions, it applies to short answers, it applies to anything, and it's useful to know that, Gladys, when you have conversations, to agree with someone, all right, and to show that you understand that and that you recognize the tense. I want to know if you have questions to go to the next elements, please let me know.
No, it's good.
Good. So if this is one way, this is the second one. This is also formal, and there is no another way to do this, Gladys. This is the only way to use so as agreement. And if you analyze, it's exactly the same, but is inverted. So do I. Okay, you can only say it like that. If you say I do so, it's incorrect. You cannot say it in normal way. It has to be inverted if you want to use so. Okay, and there's no way to say this in a long way, Gladys. In this case, you cannot say so I like pizza. No, because the meaning is different. It's not the same. You don't use it like that. Okay, so to use so, you have to use this structure. In this case, it is obligatory. So the same logic, you know the rules, Gladys. I'm going to tell you some ideas. Show me agreement. All right, so if I say, once again, I'm going to not just to tell you about me, but I'm going to tell you about other people, and you have to show agreement with that. For example, if I say, he is from, I don't know, right? No, yes, imagine that you're from that place too, okay? If I say, he's from Brazil, how do you show agreement with that?
I am too.
Correct? She was
Oh,
at
but
the...
do I need to use so do I?
No, it's okay. If you see the verb to be, remember, you have to use the verb to be.
Oh.
So he is from Brazil. That's the verb to be, is, am, are. So you say, so am I. Perfect.
But I can say so do I.
No, in that case, no. They are going to understand, but it's going to be incorrect. And also in conversations, if you say, so do I, they are going to say, okay, yes, but they are going to hear something weird. All right, so it is good, but you're not going to hear that. And this is more common. If you look for this in some movies or you pay attention to that, you're going to find this expression. All right, it's very common. And there's no informal way of this expression. So you have to say what you have to say. If you see the verb to be, we use the verb to be. So am I, so is he, so is she, so are they, so are we. Okay, so it depends on the subject. So this can change, and you change the conjugation as well. And this one.
But I can use in any sentence.
Yes, you can use it, but you can use this in any tense, but it depends what's the agreement that you have. For example, if I say I am from Brazil and you say so am I, correct. But if I say I am from Brazil and you answer so do I, it's understandable, but it's incorrect.
Okay,
Okay.
so I need to use the same tense.
The same tense, exactly. It has to be the same. If I say this, I was, I don't know, I was in the United States 2 years ago. How do you show agreement with that?
So did I.
But in my sentence, I'm using the verb to be in past. I was in the United States, right? So remember the rule. If you see the verb to be in present or in past, you have to use the verb to be. So was I. Remember that you only use do or does, Gladys, or you only use did when you see other verbs in present or other verbs in past that are not the verb to be. All right, but if you see the verb to be, you have to use the verb to be. So one more time, if I say, this is different, but I have the verb to be. I was cooking last night.
So was I.
Correct. They were studying for the test.
I was too.
But also this, right here we're practicing with so, but yes, I was too, or so was I. Correct. In all the cases, okay, this is for all the cases. You can say I do too, or so do I, or I was too, or so was I. It's the same. Okay, this is just another variation. But yes, your answer was correct. But let's try to use so, only with so. I'm going to change the tense now. Well, actually, I'm going to change the verbs. If I say I saw a strange or weird shadow, okay, I saw a strange or weird shadow. What would it be the agreement with so?
So was I.
But remember, only use the verb to be if you see the verb to be or if you hear. One more time my sentence. I saw, I'm going to make it shorter. I saw a shadow.
I do I. So do I.
Close, but so, in what tense is so? Is
In
it
what
present?
tense is so?
So, if I say I saw a shadow,
Oh, I saw
is it present or past?
past. So did I.
Good. So did I. Good. Exactly. Now, in that one, we have to be careful. The pronunciation seems to be the same, right? But actually, it's a little bit different. So, how do you pronounce these two words? Gladys, those two in the chat.
So is so. So.
All
So.
right. Okay. The first one is with an OU, right? So, this is so, the one that you see here. So, right? You say, so what do you want to do? Right? But the other one has to be with a cat. Oh, like saw. Okay, so saw, saw. Because the other one, this one cannot be saw, right? You don't say so do I, right? Would you say so do I? So I was just clarifying that. So in my sentence, I saw a shadow. Then you say so did I, right? Because that's simple past. What about this? They studied for the test.
So do I.
But one more time, they studied, right?
They
Studied.
studied. Oh, so did
Uh-huh.
I.
So did I exactly? This one, I will go to the party.
So do I.
But one more time, I will go to the party. Remember, if in the other tenses, all the rest of the tenses, Gladys, is what you see.
So
So
will I.
exactly, I could go to the party.
I could.
Mhm.
So do I.
But could, remember, could is
Oh,
not
it's
a verb.
past. So
Could is
did I.
past. But could is not a verb. Remember, can is not a verb. Could is not a verb. They are modals, right? And all the models are only models. So that rule also is going to be important for you. If you see modal, what is a modal? Will, would, can, could, may, might, should, must. I think I'm repeating that one. Those are the ones that are the most important ones. Okay, once again, will, would, can, could, may, might, should. All right, and must. If you see those ones, they are always going to be there. It means you use them in yes no questions, you use them in tag questions, you use them in disagreement. So I could go to the party, so could I. I can go to the party, so can I. I should go to the party, so should I. I must go to the party, so must I. Okay, so if you see a model, use the model. And the model can be in present or in past. It doesn't matter. We have to repeat the same model. It's only the other verbs, Gladys, that they are going to be changed. But again, it depends. That's why it's important to be clear when it's simple present and simple past. And again, those are names. But let's try. I'm going to try to ask you once again. Just tell me the auxiliary in the sentence. This one, I know that we were using some extra time. We're going to finish with this. All right. If I say the sentence, she she has been staying home. She has been staying home. What is the auxiliary in that sentence?
Has.
Correct? Has. If I say she has a great friend, what is the auxiliary there?
She has.
She has a great friend.
Has.
All right, but in that one you have to think a little bit more. Why? Because in that one has is not auxiliary. In that one has is the verb to possess, right? And what is the tense? Is the simple present. This is the tense. So, for example, if I say one more time, if I say she has a dog, what is the negative of she has a dog?
She hasn't.
All right, but if you say she hasn't and she hasn't a dog, you're saying this. Okay, that's what you're telling me. Why? Because hasn't is the auxiliary in negative. But in your sentence, right, has is not an auxiliary, it's a verb. So one more time. In present, first person, I have a car. How do you say I have a car in negative?
I don't have a car.
Correct. So she has a car in negative.
She doesn't have a car.
Exactly. Good. Exactly. So you have to be careful with that. Have can be a verb and have can be auxiliary. She has a dog is not auxiliary, is a verb. So has in negative is doesn't have. She doesn't have a great friend. So in the first example is good because the first example was she has been staying home. Has is the auxiliary, right? So you say hasn't been. I have been, I haven't been, have I been, right? But have as verb. I have a car. I don't have a car. Do I have a car? Right? So again, there I'm showing you that you need to know when one word, sorry, can be auxiliary or can be a verb. Have is a great way to practice. Okay, two more examples. If I say they have studied, they have studied many hours. What is the auxiliary in that idea?
They have studied
studied for many hours.
Have?
You have to know, correct. You have to analyze, do they possess have or study? Is study a possession of have? No, right? Study is not a possession. Study is a verb in the past participle, so it means that's the main verb, and have is the auxiliary, right? But it's different if I say they have a study room. They have a study room. What about in that case? What is the auxiliary in they have a study room?
Mm,
If it's object, then it's simple present and it's do. If it's auxiliary, then it's have. But what is in that case? They have a study room.
do?
Do. Because a study room, is an object. You can possess an object, right? So how do you know if you have a verb in the past participle, Gladys? After have is auxiliary. Have been, have gone, have studied, have finished, have seen, so on and so forth. But if you see an object after have, it's possession. Have a dog, have a friend, she has a friend, she has an exam. In all those cases, have is a verb, so the auxiliary is not have or has, the auxiliary is do or does. All right, so again, because of the time we're going to be finishing here, I know that perhaps many things are not clear, but it's because we need
Yeah,
to
I'm
start.
so confused.
It is right and it's confusing. But my advice, my piece of advice for now, Gladys, because this is something that is not going to be learned and memorized just in one day or some weeks. We need to practice that a lot. But please try to practice with the ideas that I was giving you, Gladys. Try to think right for yourself, ideas for possession with have, and ideas in the present perfect. Try to think of any ideas in present, any ideas in past, any ideas in future, and try to identify the auxiliary. Remember, the only two that are different, Gladys, are the simple present and the simple past. All right, and once again, try to memorize the two basic ideas for simple present and simple past. I like pizza, I liked pizza. In those cases, the auxiliaries are not there because like is never an auxiliary. So what do? You use the auxiliary from the negative or question. That is do or does, or that is did in past. Okay, try to have that into account. If you have to practice with me, we're going to do it. But again, now let's finish here. I know that you have questions over there, but do you have a specific question to finish now? Let me know, please, so that I can answer, and with that, we finish the class.
So and two. And what about
Yes,
neither and either?
we have to see that. Not today, because again, we spend time to practice the details about auxiliaries. If I go to the next part with those doubts, we are still going to have those problems. Okay, because so I rather spend more time seeing that. We're going to see this tomorrow. All right, don't worry, we're going to see this tomorrow. But to show you is the same. Neither do I don't either. But once again, to work with this, you have to be very sure about the auxiliaries. All right, that's why again, don't worry about them. You're going to see them with me tomorrow. But what I need you to practice on your own in this time until tomorrow, try to practice the auxiliaries. Try to take a look at the previous lessons that we covered. We have lessons about the auxiliaries. And if you have specific questions about them, let me know tomorrow. We're going to work a short review for the auxiliaries in affirmative for to and so, and then we're going to go to negative with neither and either. All right, but again, it's going to be useful to be more clear with the auxiliaries. But that's it. I don't know if you have any other questions or comments, Gladys. Let me know, please.
So just to to see if there is an auxiliary or not, I need to ask about the possession, right?
In present, to using have, yes. But in most of the cases, even the easiest way, Gladys, is to turn your idea into a question, in a yes-no question. The auxiliary is always the first word in a yes-no question, right? For example, I have a dog. What is the question for that one? Do you have a dog? So what is auxiliary? Do, right? If I say, I went to the party, what is a question for that? Did you go to the party? So the auxiliary there is did. I will travel tomorrow. What is a question? Will you travel tomorrow? So what is auxiliary? Will. Okay, I have finished my homework. Have you finished your homework? Auxiliary, have. All right, so again, that's another way. Anytime the auxiliary is the first word in a yes-no question. And that's the word that you have to use here. All right, practice like that. Be sure that you can identify the auxiliaries in all tenses, present, past, future, with all modals, would, should, can, could, must, and so on. And if you feel sure about that, let me know. And if you have questions, tomorrow we're going to keep practicing. Okay?
Okay.
Great. There you go. So please, let's finish out. No, you're very welcome. Let's try to answer, please, today's survey that you can find over there. And with that, then we are good to go. Thanks for being here. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow then, Gladys.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.